Hi there. Thanks for joining me on my Taking the P-cast. It's my first podcast or video that I'm going to be doing about me, which is AJRedditch. See that up there? There you go. It's basically a comedy podcast in case you're wondering what the hell's going on and what I'm watching. Some dude sat in front of a sofa and in front of a sign above him. It all's planted. It's planted correctly. It's planted for advertising purposes. Of course it is, because I want you guys to friend and follow me. Don't just look at the page. Actually physically press that friend button, because I don't have many. And why would you? Who am I? What the hell's going on? The answer is I'm AJ. I'm from Redditch, and I'm hopefully going to be a full-on comedian soon, is the plan. I'm 38. I'm from Redditch. I currently live by the town centre. And my plan is really to go on tour next year in 2024. Essentially, I left my job in November, to put it very simply. And I did the cliche where I wanted a career change, something a bit different. But I did so because I also had this sort of feeling that I wanted to do something like a passion or a hobby that I'd always done and move a bit forwards. Now, football was never going to be an option. I have a big passion for football. But at 38, it's probably not the best time to start football, to be honest with you. Going to the academy with loads of young kids, and I end up going, right, I'm 38, but I want to learn to play football and work my way up. But yeah, no, so I went to comedy instead. And the reason for that is because I've always had an interest in comedy itself. I've always been curious about it. I've watched a lot of comedians, and obviously that's inspired me. So yeah, so I'm 38, I'm from Redditch. I'm married with a child. If that has any significance whatsoever to this podcast, I thought I'd get it out there straight away, just in case people wonder if I have a kid. I'm not David Baddiel. Let's start with the obvious. A few people have said, are you David Baddiel? I'm not David Baddiel. I may look a teeny weeny bit like him. Which is strange because I don't think I do, but clearly people do. So yeah, anyway, how did it start? What's happening? What's going on? So I got asked this question. Comedy, how does it start? What happened? So I've been interested in performing since I was a child. I've done the usual stuff at school, plays, that kind of thing. But it actually started a little bit earlier than when I was about 5 or 6, and maybe even 4, going back even to that young. I have to check with the parents because they're more likely to know the answer to this than I am, but I definitely know stories when I was about 5 or 6. And the way it works is, when I was younger, the natural thing is when you're a child, it's your birthday, it's Christmas, you get your gifts, don't you? You get your presents, that kind of thing. You go, each present, it probably gets chucked to one side and you don't give a crap about it 5 minutes later because you get the next present and then the next present and the next present. You just get a couple. Not me though. So the way it worked with me is I had to perform to get my presents. And I don't mean like a performing monkey, and my parents did stand up with a whip, go on AJ, work for your presents. But it sort of was like that in a funny way, though. I didn't see it anything other than that, really. And the way it works is we would sing, perform, do something. It was just me. I think it was because I enjoyed it so much that my parents sort of, they sort of encouraged that idea. You're not getting your present for your birthday unless you sing or dance or do something stupid. So that's what I would do, essentially. I would stand up on like a little small mantelpiece that we had, and I'd dance or something like that, or I'd sing or do something silly, and they were giving my present. And it kind of became fun after a while. And it's weird because from something that you think that's a bit strange, getting him to perform for his birthday present, it's a bit brutal in a small, tiny way. But I found it quite fun. And I think that's what created this sort of performance side and this excitement about that, and that natural, no fear thing that I have. So yeah, when I was a child, I used to have to perform to that. And then over time, as I did sort of the occasional things at school, school plays and that kind of thing, you get interested in sort of acting. Now, I don't want to act. This is not an acting thing. It is quite popular, acting and singing and that kind of thing, karaoke and that stuff, and just general drama. That's still part of the same performing arts kind of thing, comedy, but it's a bit different. But what I started then to do as I got older, and went through the years, especially last sort of 15 years or so of my sort of before now, I started doing stuff at work, which was more comedy-based things. And that was me basically sort of observing things at work and joking about things. And for about 4, I'll say 4, that's a bit longer than that, about 6 years, I did comedy at work. And you're probably thinking, what? I make people laugh at work in general, just like you do on an ordinary day. And that, by the way, is not a comedian. Someone who can stand there on a Friday night after having 3 pints and making jokes amongst a group of 5 people, that's not a comedian in my eyes. That's someone who's just being silly and comical. That's different. People think, anyone could be a comedian. Probably can, but then everyone would be a comedian, wouldn't they? So it's one of those. Comedians are more about how you can perform a certain thing, not just stand there and laugh because you're pissed. It's about, actually being able to sort of hold a room full of people, and more importantly, act and perform and joke about things and write stories and one-liners, and whatever you're going to do is your niche, really. But yeah, I started doing things at work. So what I was doing is I observed people, and then what my platform would be at a Christmas meal. So obviously at the end of the year, towards the end of December or midpoint of December, or early December in some instances, you go out on your Christmas meal, wouldn't you, in the evening, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it is, after work, and all of you as a group of people would go out. And what I would do for 2 or 3 weeks prior to that Christmas meal would I'd spend my time observing people, work as well, obviously. You know, I wouldn't just be comical for 2 or 3 weeks and write jokes and that kind of thing, but I would 2 or 3 weeks in advance of that, I'd write little things that I'd observed that were quite funny or amusing that I think could work inside a little thing. And I'd start to build a script from that kind of thing. And so I'd write a script basically, and I'd write a storyline, and then I'd write some jokes, and then come the day of the actual Christmas meal, on the evening of that, I'd then perform that in front of 15, 20 people. And you might think, well, that's just 15 or 20 people. That's people you know. Yeah, that's firstly, that is public speaking, that is comedy, that is joke, that's performing. You know, a room full of 3 people or a room full of 20 or 30 people, whatever, that's an audience, essentially. What people don't realise is I was also performing in front of 3/4 of a restaurant as well, which was probably full, or was full actually, because at Christmas time, with Christmas meals, there was more parties going. And they weren't minding their own business. They were watching me as well. So I knew, and it wasn't like I wasn't conscious of this. I was actually performing already at a young age. We're talking, so obviously when I was 5, 6, and then all of the teens, and now as a part of being a bit older and into my 20s, I was performing in front of people without caring, without fear, without being worried. I knew what I wanted to say. I had a little piece of paper to help me, but essentially it was me performing. So performing has always been in my blood, really, in that sense. So that's how it started, really. Young age all the way up to now. And the stars have aligned. So obviously I left my job in November to try something else. And this is where, I mean, everything just seems to have fallen into place. And comedy is something that I was always interested in. And it just seems to be the right time to do it. And that's what I'm going to do in 2024. I'm going to tackle it. 5th of January is going to be my first day. And it's going to be at Oakenshaw at the community centre. It's 7 o'clock. So do come along. And I'll move on. So I don't have hundreds of people following me. You'll see on my socials right up here at AJRedditch. I have probably a few friends, a few people following me, maybe on Twitter or X, whatever it is, TikTok, that kind of thing. I'm on all of them. I'm on YouTube as well. It's not that I don't care and I'm being blasé. It's just I can't do much about making people want to follow me, but other than say the obvious, friend me and follow me. Okay, don't just watch this podcast, or don't just go on the socials and go, oh, we saw it, that's cool, great, bye. Actually press that button, because you got nothing to lose, have you? You're going to get an extra friend. Hey, you get me as your friend, and I get you as mine, and then we're all friends, aren't we, really? And the more people that friend me, the better my socials look, rather than some random bloke who's just desperate, which I'm not. Okay, he said. Next question, and I do get asked these questions, by the way. These are not just stuff that I've written down and gone, yeah, let's just pretend. No, people do ask me questions, and I suppose one of the big things is why comedy and why Redditch. So I've obviously explained that I'm interested in comedy. I like the idea of being a comedian. So what I used to do, and I still do it now to a degree, is whenever I go and see a comedian, I do see quite a few. I see loads, over my time, just not because I wanted to be a comedian, even though that's always been something of interest to me, but purely because of the entertainment purposes. You go to a film, you go watch a film, you go watch comedy, you go to a concert, watch a band or some singers. I kind of perfectly normal, just as a general thing. But every time I go and see a comedian, I've always found myself zoning out almost. So you watch a comedian and they're making jokes, but at some stage during that show performance, I'll be literally just looking at the comedian and staring at the movements of the lady or the guy doing the comedian, or I'm not going to go into the details of the LGBT plus. It exists, but it's just, confuses me to a degree. It's not me being ignorant or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is. I'm sure I'll learn about that in time properly. But reality is I could watch any comedian and it always makes me think, wow, I wish I could stand there and just perform like that. I don't want to be sat in the crowd laughing at you. I want to be the comedian that people are laughing at. And there's always been that interest, really. I didn't go to these comedy shows with that in mind, but I found myself quite frequently zoning out, not because I'm bored in any way, shape or form, but because I've always thought to myself, wow, look at the laughter they're getting, look at the fun that they're having, and that's the feeling that I've always wanted. And that's pretty much why I wanted to get into comedy, to basically do what I enjoy doing. And that's hopefully make people laugh or smile even. I'll take a smile. Smiles will win. But a laugh would be great. So that's why I wanted to get into comedy, obviously, because my interest in it, my history behind that side of things, my love of the particular sector as well of comedy, that performance side of things. And Redditch is a simple one, really, because there's not much comedy in Redditch, is there? I mean, when I say there's not much comedy, it exists. it exists in fairly decent form in the Redditch Palace Theatre, doesn't it? But that is big time comedians first and foremost. I've already checked the listings, and we've got people like Tom Stay coming here. We've got Jeff Norcott coming here. We've got Roy Chubby Brown. We've got Andy Parsons coming here. Jim Davidson, and these are brilliant comedians. Some of them, experienced. Some of them are fairly sort of, fully on the go at the moment. Active, should we say, heavily active. But where's the Redditch comedian? Where's the Midlands comedian? Is it that Redditch reject comedians? Is that what it is already? Because we've got singers. I'm telling you for a fact, we've got people who think they're singers, and we've got the karaoke world howling on a Friday night after they've had several pints. They all think they Adele. But we've got those people. We've got the drama classes, haven't we? We've got loads of drama classes coming out my ears. Everywhere I go, I can see a drama class here and a drama class there. And we've got these things, and we've got drama, we've got performance, we've got singing, acting, dance has been a big thing as well, hasn't it? Really. So we've got all those things here, but we don't actually have much in comedy, and that's why I thought let's crack that a little bit. Let's tackle Redditch. And my plan is to tackle Redditch really first. Try and become a name in Redditch for comedy. So if there's any events or any festivals, anything like that, I'm one of the first people to be mentioned as an option, if not a guarantee almost in Redditch, especially for an event that is so multi-diverse, that may have singers and may have dancers and may have that comedian side of things, and it's not something we have frequent. So why not? Hey, why not? I'll tackle it. But that's down to you guys, though, and it really is. And I point at you because you need to friend me. You need to come to these shows really and show support and show interest in this kind of thing. If you do that, then wow, the world is our oyster for all of us. And it's not just me. I want the journey to be you guys. And by that I mean, and that's a pledge that I've made at the beginning of all of this, whether it matters to you, hopefully it does, because it matters to me, and that is that I'll be doing a show at the Palace Theatre. So Redditch will benefit from me being a comedian in that I will be here doing a show, even if I'm in, I don't know, Newcastle or London or Manchester or Liverpool or wherever, or Wales, somewhere in Scotland. The fact is, the first show, especially a work in progress, I will try and always do at Redditch and Bromsgrove maybe, and areas that I'm sort of linked to, because Bromsgrove's down the road, and I'm a huge fan, by the way, of the Art Tricks. Not as much as the Palace. The Palace is like the pinnacle for me. It's like, yes, up here. But the Art Tricks I'm a huge fan of as well. So if and when they open that up again, I'll be really excited to do something there, I think, But yeah, that's my plan. So Redditch, because I've already got one or two venues I'm discussing, prepping. About the 5th of January's Oakenshaw show. Out there already is the 26th of January, which should be at Winyates Green. Then I'm in discussions about a special Valentine's Day show, but I'll talk about that right at the end of this podcast because I'll summarise what's going on with me in general. So another question I got asked about the comedy industry and why comedy. So already it's going over old ground a little bit, but I've been interested in comedy for a while. It's a very difficult industry to break. It really is. You just have to turn on the TV and stick live at the Apollo on to see there's some new comedians come out from London or from Manchester or from Newcastle. And North East is a hotspot for comedians, as is London. Huge, those two parts of the world, the parts of England. They're massive. And the reason I wanted to get into comedy is because I'm interested. I essentially just need a break, really, and a bit of luck, an opportunity. And because I'm still new at it, I'm not going to start thinking, it's going to come tomorrow. But this is the point by this. I just need to be noticed. And I think that's what I want to do. I'm doing something completely different. So the world of comedy, as you guys are probably quite familiar with, if you're watching this, is Edinburgh Fringe. Everyone's heard of Edinburgh Fringe. That, or you go and do a local open mic, or, a 3-man show or 2-man show where you're like the second on stage or first, but you're not going to be the third because that's the headline or the main act, really, essentially. Or you just, open mic, turn up, 15-minute slot, 20-minute slot, half an hour slot, and then hopefully someone noticed you. Edinburgh Fringe is another huge one. Now, one thing I've read about Edinburgh Fringe, and I had a look at this, so may do it in 2025, not 2024 next year, because my intention next year is to do a tour, which I'll explain in a second. But yeah, I've read about Edinburgh Fringe, and really you've got to ask yourself a question when you go to Edinburgh Fringe. What is it you're trying to achieve from that particular festival? And it is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. The whole ambience, the whole situation around Edinburgh Fringe is incredible. I've read a lot, I've seen pictures, I've seen videos. Haven't been there, but I plan to go there at some point. Pretty much 2025 is on my agenda, really. But the question is, and this is something you've got to ask yourself, really, when you go to Edinburgh Fringe, you're not the only comedian vying for that particular slot. You're not the only person there trying to make it as a comedian. Maybe in Redditch, maybe I'll be the only person there from Redditch, and that'd be great. But then I've got to hope that people in Redditch want to be there as a comedian, or that I get a lucky break. Because my plan and intention is to tackle Redditch first, not to go to Edinburgh Fringe and then someone in Wales or someone in Scotland or someone in the Northeast recognises me and then bang, off I go, rocket from that side of things. I want to tackle the town first. Perhaps one could argue that's my downfall. Maybe I'm not thinking big picture here. Maybe I should be going to Edinburgh Fringe and thinking, yes, come on, let's do this in the Northeast, or let's go down to London and do that. But that's not really what I want to do. Instead, so I will do Fringe at some point, probably 2025, 2026, we'll see. But my plan is really to tackle Redditch, and what I'm doing is I'm touring around Redditch. That's 100% my intention. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm doing. There you go. We're off. So 2024, I've mentioned a couple of dates already. January dates, February 14th. Valentine's Day, I'll be doing a show, probably Arrow Vale, my old stomping ground, old high school in the theatre, or the Arrow Valley Lake. Those are the two options, really, probably for the 14th of February, all being well. But that's what I'm trying to do. So in the hope that I get an audience. So I know that Oakenshaw houses around capacity, 100 people inside there. And I think that the Wigan Yates Green is about 70 something, let's say. Arrow Valley and probably Arrow Valley, probably about 150, 80 to 100, let's say, roughly, on those ones as well, in terms of capacities, and then so on and so forth for the other venues, which is Windmill in Headless Cross at the community centre, and Batchley's community centre as well. I've got that nailed for start and end of March as well. So yeah, that's basically what I want to do, really. I want to draw attention. I don't want to put people to sleep with this podcast neither, because it's supposed to be a bit uplifting and exciting, and he's a comedian, but you can't joke all the time with these ones. Especially, I don't have a Michael McIntyre sat next to me, or a Lee Evans or anyone like that, and I'm not going to give away too much of my show, and I'm not going to start performing it as part of a video on here, because otherwise, what the hell is the point of doing a tour and show? I might as well just do it live online for someone else to steal the material, which is not the point, not the plan at all. You want to come and see me? You come and see me. You want to hear from me? You either listen to this podcast or you come and see me. Simple as that. Or you chat to me in public, of course. I'm quite approachable. And I will forever be approachable, by the way. I'm not going to be one of those people that just goes, if I do well, don't talk to me, run away. I don't care if you look inside my basket and see a bag of lettuce leaves and a chicken. I don't care. Cool. You can see what I'm having for dinner. And what you got inside yours, that's probably what I would say. That's the kind of jokes I'd have with you. We'd be comparing shopping, all of our shopping lists and that kind of thing, because I don't things like that don't bother me. So what, is what it is. But yeah, that's my intention, really. That's why I want to break in the comedy world, and I'm doing it differently in the hope that draws attention, and it really has. I've had some great feedback from venues and places that I've chatted to, and people just in general saying, yeah, go for it. Really, really go for it. I mean, you've got nothing to lose. But I don't think of it that way. I think of it as I want to gain a lot rather than something to lose. That's the flip side. Someone asked me about writing style. I've mentioned about the fact that I'm a storytelling and observational comedian. That's it. Simple as that. I won't give away too much. I've mentioned that my show is based around me as a sort of young guy, that kind of thing, and based on me as a child, based on my daughter as well. So there's a bit of mix of everything really inside it. It's things that you can relate to. If you've got kids as well, if you're a family, you probably relate to it quite well as well. Even if you don't, doesn't mean you can't come along and enjoy it, because I try and tailor things to that. I'm not just staring at families going, right, this is for you only. I'm talking to everyone, really. I'm joking to everyone. Don't be put off by anything. Just turn up. I mean, the way I look at it is the show is like literally 50 minutes. That's how much I'm performing, for how long I'm performing for, with a 10-minute interval in the middle. So what, an hour of your life that you're going to get back, but you may not want to have it back, because if it's that good and that funny and decent, it's free. Especially the first 5 shows. Why not? Give it a go. Got nothing to lose. Remember this bit here? Yeah, keep an eye on that. On my socials, I put all the dates and all the pictures of where it's going to be, and all the leaflets and all those bits, so you know where they are. What I've been actually doing is A4 sheets with the, you used to get, if you need someone to do the cleaning, or you need a guitar tutor, you get the A4 sheet paper, don't you, with a little small tear-offs at the bottom. You can tear off a little thing, and you got a telephone number and whatever. I'll be doing those, basically. My sheet A4s on the, put them up in supermarkets and places like that. Again, socials, there's the details on here. And I've been putting them up so people can just tear a ticket. And that's it. That's their entry. Free. Done. Simple as that. And it allows me to control the quantities of tickets and the capacity in that sense. What I do plan to do also for the Oakenshaw show, and I'll probably do it for all, in fact, is door-to-door leaflets as well. just to push more interest maybe in the local area. So, you know, the closes and the lanes that are quite close to the community centres, I will be knocking on your doors. And what I found, I did actually try one of this the other day, and what I found that's quite interesting is the letter boxes that have the little brushes at the back. You know, you got little brushy brushes at the back, so you got like your average standard letter box that you push open, put your letter in, and then there's a second sort of obstacle. It's like gladiators, you know, when you do the gauntlet, you got to get past one, now you got to tackle the other thing afterwards. It's madness. And trying to get honestly anything through there is mad, unless you've got something rigid like cardboard. Try and stick a piece of paper in there, it gets absolutely destroyed before it hits the floor. And then if it was me receiving that, like a leaflet, for example, that I put through the door, and that drops to the floor in the state that it's in, I'm thinking that's ready for the bin before I even read it. And that's the problem. So I'm going to have to come up with a solution of trying to get a leaflet at half an A4. That's what they are. So I've got 2 to an A4. So one leaflet that I put through each door. And trying to get that through the door is going to be more challenging than the comedy show, I think. You know, it's just one of those. It just gets absolutely squished to pieces and scrunched up so badly. So that's a bit of a work for me there to sort of tackle. Someone asked me about the best joke and gag, and that, again, this is not something that's just I'm just random making up. People have asked me this question, you know, and there's been when I've stood around talking, just in general, trying to promote the shows and sort of this brand awareness essentially. And the brand is AJRedditch, or AJ in general. That's me, the comedian. But people ask me about best joke. What kind of things are, you know, what's my style? But what kind of thing I'm going to joke about? What's going to be the funniest thing that you joke about? What's going to be your funniest gag? What's your funniest thing? And the answer to that question is, I had to think about this when I got asked it originally, but the answer is probably to do with my daughter, because, you know, there's this saying that kids do and say the funniest things, and I think that's spot on. I really, really do. I know that there's the thing about the animals do the funniest things. There's actually TV shows, as you guys well know. There's shows about kids and do the funniest things, and animals do. And I 100% agree with that. I really do. And some of the things that me and my daughter talk about, we have this banter going on where she'll say something and I'll joke back and she'll joke back again. And she's like a mini me version. And I mentioned this as part of the show. And, you know, listening to your kids is crucial. And it sounds so stupid saying listening to your kids it's like I'm parenting everyone, but it's true. If you listen to them really, and I'm not talking about the fact that, you know, I'll say the boring stuff is a bit harsh, you know, the things that don't matter, like, but if you listen to them in general and sort of filter the main bits, what you'll probably find is there's some fun and comedy in every child. You know, there really, really is. And that age where they just say anything and everything. And if you can sift through a lot of the stuff and find the nuggets, the golden gems that they come out with, I promise you there's stuff to joke about with kids all day long. And my daughter, in a weird way, is an inspiration as well. And I'm hopefully an inspiration to her because, as I say, I did a mainstream job. I worked in IT and management for like 14 years or something like that. And I gave it up, obviously, in November, as you know. And, you know, it was, I would say, not a mainstream job, it's an office job, isn't it, really? The mainstream jobs are that, you know, retail, you know, factory working, that kind of thing. Nothing wrong with those, perfectly fine, fantastic jobs. I've done them all. I've done fast food as well. I've worked in retail, I've worked in office jobs. So I've done almost the full works to a degree. And now I'm doing performing. And that's what I hope to teach and almost inspire her to think that she doesn't just have to do the mainstream stuff. Look, daddy's doing performing as well, something that's not the average, you know, and something that's a bit different, a bit strange and self-employee kind of thing rather than, you know, standard employment, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to create that idea that don't panic, because she's into dance, she's into gymnastics, she's into those kind of things. And the idea of me doing comedy, it's the equivalent to that, you know, to be a gymnast, to be a dancer, to be, you know, a performer like drama. You know, it's not something that everyone does really, you know. So to create that sort of inspiration to be brilliant, that would. So jokes and best jokes and gags are about her really, and she's 9. And yeah, even prior to this point, at 7 and 8 and 9, she's done some funny things. Even 6, you do some funny things as well. As they're growing up, you just got to pay attention. That's what I was doing really, and not be that sort of distant person that just ignores everyone and just go away, you know, that kind of thing. That actually, I mean, there is occasions when I do say be quiet or something like that, but in general, because she's a bit like verbal diarrhea, she doesn't stop talking half the time. But then me, hey, you know, learn from the best. It is what it is. I did get asked about how long it takes. Someone did ask me this. How long does it take to write, perform, and not necessarily the promote part? They asked about write and perform, but I'll throw promotion in there just because I give it a nice full set then. So it doesn't take long to write. It didn't for me anyway, because obviously it's in here, all in the noggin, and then it comes out in the paper. So I just jot down one word or a couple of things that sort of summarises what I want to joke about, or in my past or present, or middle ground, what I want to joke about really. Then from that, it's a bit like a seed. You put down a word and it creates a sentence. From the sentence, you create a paragraph, and the paragraph, that's a script, and there's a story there in that for that. So it didn't take long for me to write. Perform, yes, longer. Simply because at the time when I started writing all these scripts for my show, I wrote things that made sense to me, but probably weren't funny at the time. And then you tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and perform it and joke about it. And then performance comes from both delivery, the pun, the sort of finale to a story in that sense. But it's also about how you behave, act. If you're going to be that kind of comedian, really, you're going to be somebody who gestures a lot and moves, or you're going to be someone who's static and tells a joke and waits for the reaction, that kind of thing. So there's a bit of both for me, a bit of mix in my show, really. So performing takes a while. Recording yourself, listen to yourself back, going, God Christ, I sound like that. That's huge. That tends to be what I sort of think to myself. Oh my God, even now I haven't listened back to this particular video podcast, but I'm gonna be like, Christ, do I sound like that? Jeez. But I don't care. At the end of it all, I might think that, but at the end of the day, I'm going to press post. So enjoy, regardless. It's raw. I'm going to say it as it is. I'm actually quite controversial with things that I do and say as well, and that might be a bit standoffish from him. But it is what it is. As part of one of my jokes is, filter-wise, what filter? I just say what I think. It goes in here, comes out there. Simple as that. There won't be filtered to a degree with certain things because I don't expletive every single thing. I'm going to be held back with certain things, but in general, I'll say what I think. My missus hates me for it. She asked me a question about clothes and stuff like that. I'll just say it is. She doesn't like it, then sorry, don't ask me. The complete polar opposite to the average male, that is. Promotional wise, though, so obviously how it's going to take to write, promote is a big one. Especially if you're doing it alone, and I am, and especially if no one's really social media savvy, and my missus is, but she doesn't want to help me too much with this. She'll give me pointers, and then she'll say, get lost and go and do them, and I will. So I obviously have these bad boys. I have YouTube as well. I have a website on the Wix website, it's a WX, but my actual URL is on the Facebook page. But yeah, so it's one of these really. When you promotional wise, my way of doing it is see me face to face, that kind of thing, go out and about, but at the same time hand out leaflets because I need to be places. I've obviously handed out leaflets in and around Redditch, around the whole of the town. If you don't see me on the windows of some of these places, because places like I'm in McDonald's, B&Q, as all the supermarkets have got something from me. I'm in the library, I'm in the Abbey Stadium, I'm in the football club. Well, I will be in the football club soon. I'm in and around lots of different places in Redditch. Now, if you don't visually see me, Aldi as well has been fun. I'll talk about them in a sec. But if you don't see me, know that I'm still there. I am. I'm just not visually there because a lot of these companies don't let you stick your bloody leaflet in the window because aesthetically it looks horrible. You've got AJ in the window. Don't put that there. But I am in their staff room. So, and I know what you're thinking. So, staff room, yeah, good luck with that. You're not going to get it. Is minor disappointment in the staff room, but it's very small disappointment because obviously I want to be in the windows, in display basically, so customers walking into this place see the AJ Unleashed leaflet and go, ooh, what's this? And then take pictures and that kind of thing, or at least look up. And I have seen that. I'm getting stares and people going, looking up and then walking off. Don't look up and walk off, by the way. Look up and take a picture. Then what's a picture on your phone? Honestly, you may delete it in about a day or two's time, but at least it's there. But yeah, so that's it. But a lot of these companies like McDonald's and B&Q and Matalan and the supermarkets, half of them anyway, because they are specific to their own brands, they're not going to stick my leaflet on the window. That's natural. That's fine. I don't hate them for that reason. I accept it. So my way of twisting that to make me feel good in terms of psychologically and mentally is to say to myself, look, if you can't be in their window because that's their policy and you accept it, then why not be in their staff room? That's a good way of thinking about it, a good way to twist that negative into a positive to a degree, because now you might not be reaching hundreds or thousands of customers, which you don't get a choice over really, unless you stand outside these places. But I'll probably get ushered on. If I stand outside McDonald's and go, excuse me, I'll probably have the McDonald's guys coming out, their truncheons or whatever, throwing like fries at me or something to get me out of the way, throwing Big Macs at me to sort of kick me out of the way, or milkshakes. I'll get tackled by the hamburglar. But yeah, or Ronald. But yeah, so rather than stand outside, which I'm not able to do, rather than put my poster up in the window, which I can't do, the next best thing is to give it to them to put in the staff room. Now, I might not reach thousands, but I reach the staff, which is 50, 60, 100, maybe, perhaps around that amount, working in some of these places, in all the supermarkets and different kinds of businesses that I've put the leaflet into. So yeah, there's positive out of a negative. So that's promotional. Me dancing around and doing silly things outside of supermarket is going to be my thing. Outside the town centre is going to be my thing as well. So look out for me. Chat to me. Don't be afraid. I'm cool. You know, I don't mind. I like people talking to me. Don't be one of those people that passes by and just goes, now. You know, just look, smile, and think, okay, cool. I know we've all got things to do, but you know, why not? You got 2 seconds of your time. I'm not going to be like these charity people that stand there and pull you to my. I've got to stand anyway. I'm not that. I'm not set up for that yet. But yeah, just chat to me, say hello, you know, say, oh, what are you doing? What are you up to? Why are you doing that? And, you know, probe, why not? You'll find out things. And so promotional does take a lot longer. As I said earlier before, sticking things indoors, leaflets, that's going to be my next step. Social medias up here. I've tried to do it as well as I can, but I'm no social media king. Even at 38, you'd think I probably know my way around the social media. I don't really. You know, I had Facebook for years, but didn't use it, didn't care about it, didn't find any interest in it, really. It's weird. I know there's usually people who are quite suspicious of people who go, what? No Facebook, no Twitter, no Insta. What's this person doing? He's not proper Gen Z. I'm not. I'm 38, for Christ's sake. I'm not 25, you know, or even 30 for that matter. I'm a little bit beyond those times. And that's not an excuse, because people of my age are really, really, really savvy on social media. You see all the influencers are around my age, if not older, not younger. They've just got a hold of it and then gone for it, but that's not me. But now I am. Obviously, I get the reasons why it needs to be done, so I'm doing it. And then finally, and this is not necessarily a question, it's more of me stating what's going on. So the final bit I'm going to touch on really, really quickly is what's going on, what's happening, and what's the intentions and plans going forward. So obviously, I mentioned it, I'm doing a 2024 tour. It is called Young at Heart. It is in and around Redditch. That is solely the purpose. I've had people from different parts of just outside the town, people from different parts of Worcestershire, people from Midlands, discuss venues with me, and I've saved them because I will be tackling those worlds at some point. But for now, it's all about Redditch, really. You get my sole attention, and that's it. And that's the way it's going to be, I'm afraid, till, well, I'm not afraid because I'm excited about it. But that's the way it's going to be till spring, unless something incredible comes on, which I'm sure it potentially might, maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm just going to go for it regardless. So anyway, 5th of Jan, Friday, Oakenshaw, 7 p.m. That's show number 1, numero uno. Show number 2, it will be at Winyates Green. It'll be 26, and that is going to be at Winyates Green Community Centre. That's 7 p.m. as well. 14th February, I will do a special Valentine's Day show. There will be promotional box, that too. So there will be a box inside there for any donations, which I bring alongside that, because obviously these particular venues aren't £0 and 0 pence. They cost a few quid. So that's basically what the donations box will be for. So please donate if you're happy to do so. And that'll be at Arravale or Arravale Lake. So Arravale Theatre, which is Greensward Lane, or Arravale Lake, which we all know if you're from Redditch. If you don't, it's a pretty obvious park in Redditch. It's at the Boathouse. So one of those two shows I'm toying between for the third show. It will be free entry as it stands, and it will be a donations for that particular show. The first 2 shows, there's no donations for. Then the 1st of March, I'm tackling Windmill Community Centre, which is, I believe, Ryegrass Lane in Headless Cross. It's Headless Cross anyway. And that'll be, I believe, it's on the 1st of March. And then at the end of March, I think it's the 30th, I'll be doing my final work in progress free show, which will be in Batchley at Community Centre. So fairly local one-ish for me, not too far away. Again, so the Valentine's Day show, the Windmill show, and the Batchley show will have a donations box brought with me. And that's basically to cover the venue. So do donate if you would. I'm not going to make millions. I'm not going to buy a Ferrari or a Porsche with even a fiver that you give to me. It'll be given straight back, or covering the cost of that particular venue. So, it's not like I'm going to be making thousands, and that's not my intention. Money is not the sole sort of flashy goal. neither is becoming the greatest comedian in the world. If it happens, oh, like anyone says, if it happens, great, super, fantastic. You know, my way of giving back, you know, is I'll come back to Redditch each time and do a show every time here. So that's easy. Future plans is an interesting one, actually, because you'd think, well, okay, he's written a show, Young at Heart's a show, he's doing that. That will go, obviously, to the spring. Keep an eye on the socials in terms of dates and venues, etc., and how to get tickets for the shows that I'll be doing. I think I'm going to finish probably about April, May, and then have a bit of a breather over the summer and then go again second half of the year. Intentions, and this is an interesting one. I've already started writing bits for a second show, completely different tour, completely different name show that I'll be doing in the future. When I do that, I'm not sure, but at least I've got something there. The bones are down for a second, but I want to solely focus on Young at Heart at the moment, which is the 2024 show. It's my first show, and the first leg of that show, first stop, is at Oakenshaw on the 5th of January. So do come along. I'd love to see you guys there. It'll be quite an exciting show. As you can imagine, as a person, I'm quite exciting. I'm excited about it because it's a chance for me to perform in front of you guys. So please do come along to Oakenshaw on the 5th of Jan. This is Friday night at 7 o'clock at the Oakenshaw Community Centre. And I would love to see you guys there. I think it's Castle Ditch Lane, that one as well, opposite Tesco. So yeah, podcast number 1. This is an entry to my podcast setup. It's called an intro and about AJ, just so you know who I am. Please listen to the ones. I'm not going to beg and sort of, please listen to me. I'd like to think you thought it was quite real, quite raw, quite honest. And that's what I'll keep doing. So I'll be doing a few more, probably do one after the Oakenshaw show, so you guys get to gauge where I'm at in general. Perhaps one before the Vignette Screen show, so just as I go along. But yeah, thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully you guys have learned something from this particular show and it's been of interest to you guys. But yeah, that's me. Look out for it. Social media up here. Add me and follow me. Peace out and rock and roll. Cheers. Thanks a lot, Redditch. Take care.